Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, we give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Rahakadash. The balance to the apostles, GMS, Ruel, Shalom to the faithful men, who continue doing the work of the Lord. Now, Lord willing, alright, I just want to make this quick video just speaking on about the World War III, the war to end all wars. Alright, the coming of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach. Alright, and then how after the aftermath of all that is going to be peace, you know. Like the saying goes, the war to end all wars. They said it about World War One. They thought that was going to be the war to end all wars. But no, according to the scriptures, there will be three, you know. And I'm going to play a couple clips that I seen, and I was like, that's the spirit. All right. But real quick, just to set it up. All right. Because like I said, that's what the people believed in World War One, that was going to be the war to end all wars. All right. But what the scripture says, Revelation 9 and 12, one woe is past, all right, World War One, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter, all right, World War II and World War III, all right. And you gotta think about world wars was very brutal. You know, the First World War, that was the first time they used tanks. That was the first time they used airplanes to attack people. You know what I'm saying? I believe too, if I'm not mistaken, in World War One, that was the last time they used like cavalry charges with horses. You know what I'm saying? Because some people were still using horses, but I think that was the last time they ever used it in warfare. You know, because not everything is, you know, tanks and airplanes. Now they got drones. You know what I'm saying? They got World War One, which they had shell shock. You know what I mean? They didn't really understand PDSTD. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I said it wrong. You know, but you know, each war things got more and more, you know, just more. Now World War II, you know, the atomic bomb that dropped on Japan, and that's the war. That stopped World War II, or that made Japan surrender. You know what I'm saying? I just made a video on that, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, just the effect of those atomic bombs, and that wasn't shit compared to what's about to happen to this place. Because World War One, they didn't have that, but World War II they did. Now in World War III, you know, the missiles, the nukes is getting more and more advanced. You know, now Russia got Satan II that can destroy the whole state of Texas. That's just one nuke. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, things, you know, the Lord pretty much made knowledge increase for this purpose. You know, because what the scripture says, that this place, America, is going to be destroyed in 1 hour. How can that be possible? How can the whole country be burned in 1 hour? It need thermonuclear missiles, and now certain missiles, they can get here in 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And then I believe if they put it on a submarine, now you get even closer. You know what I'm saying? I believe some can even get here in 15 minutes. So everything is adding up. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord's speeding things up. Why? Because real quick, so like before I get into this video. Let me see. Zephaniah 1 and 18. It says, neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them on the day of Yahweh's wrath, but the whole land shall be, because now you see, you know, America be like, well, y'all better stop, you know, they would talk to a different nation, Africa or something like that, y'all better stop doing this, or I'm gonna cut off y'all, you know, supporting y'all, you know, giving y'all money, whatever the fucking case is. I'm gonna put sanctions on you, whatever. He can use those tactics now, but now you see the whole world shifting. They shifting away from the dollar. They leaning more towards Russia, China, you know, Iran, all this shit. You know what I mean? And that silver and gold, that money, that trade, these different nations, they ain't gonna give a fuck no more. You know, even China, because really, if America's economy collapse, China, because they connected. But it's the Lord gonna put the spirit on these damn elites, these damn so-called rulers of these different nations, Salakia, okay? And the Lord is gonna put a spirit on them, be like, man, I don't give a fuck. We ain't gonna regard that no more. We're gonna nuke this place. You know what I'm saying? All right. But then you're gonna have like the businessmen. They're gonna be standing in the far mourning for this place. You know, that always happens. You know, the rulers of the nation, they make a decision, and sometimes the people that make the money, they suffer, and then they get mad at the government. But you can't do it. Get the spirit on them, because World War III is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It says, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. All right, with the storm nuclear missiles plus the chariot fire. All right. And he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land, because it's going to be with just an hour, you know. But anyways, going back to the main point, you know, I just want to show this real quick. You know, fair use. I'm not doing this for money, so hopefully I don't get copyright. But this is if you type in the last seconds of World War II, you know, they had audio of it. You know what I'm saying? The seconds of the last minute of World War One, or it must have been World War One, Slovakia. All right. But here we go right here. And just something, you notice something at the end. Now, as you see, war was going on, and then what happened at the end? You heard birds chirping. You know what I'm saying? It's like the birds, they just, because, you know, you got all this war, all these missiles and bombs and shit, bullets. So, you know, fucking animals probably moving, migrating, getting the fuck out of Dodge, getting killed. But then when all that shit ended, that's when they started to come out and start birds. You start hearing birds chirping and shit. You know what I'm saying? Even in like during the Rona, while everything was shut down, the government was shut down. Oh, not the government, but the whole world was shut down. People, majority of people was in the house. You had animals taking over the streets. You know what I mean? Because they didn't have the interference of these wicked ass people, man. So same thing when this World War III, when this ends, you know, nature is going to flourish again. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, I got one more video. All right, and again, fair use. Hopefully, they don't, you know. Now this is in Ukraine. You know. Now look what this man said.
I was saying I've been to these areas a couple of times before, but already during the full-scale war, it is really difficult to imagine how this place looked before, because it was a national reserve, so it was full of wildlife. Now you can hear it yourself. There's elements of the modern warfare everywhere, wherever you go in this forest. The drones laying around, the drones flying around, the fiber optic on the trees, and lots and lots of shelling. This is how this forest looks at this very moment.
Now, that thing real quick before I continue, because I got one more little part. But he said the fiber optic. All right. Now what that is the term the fiber optic war, in because I think it's a different version of it, but in wartime, it's referred to the recent use of jam-proof fiber optic feathered drones as a new weapon in conflict like the one in Ukraine. Unlike standard drones that use radio signals, these are controlled via physical fiber optic cable, making them immune to jamming but also limited by cable length and easier to physically intercept. This new technological is is reshaping warfare and facing both sides of the battle. Who gives a fuck? Anyways, let me see. Let me see. Let's go see if they're gonna try to explain it. Oh, then this right here, physical connection. These drones are connected to operator by a physical wired thin fiber optic cable, which unwinds from a spool on the drone as it flies. Alright. So I believe it stops the drones, but you're gonna see the picture of it. You know what I'm saying? The image of it.
This very moment.
Everything is covered in this thread. Over everything, villages, fields, cities. This really bothers me, because nature will suffer from it. Imagine how long it will take if the fiber optic war continues for another 2 years.
Some threads right
How
there.
much will be covered? How much of this garbage will be in nature? And the worst thing is that all this garbage will not be on their territory, but on ours. There are already nets, and there are hundreds of thousands of birds that are caught in these nets. And they just die there. How many times have we pulled them out of those nets?
But yeah, you see, you got to see the point. You know, you see the damn beetle and you see the bird stuck in that motherfucker. You know, so even these different animals and creatures, they gonna be, you know, they gonna rejoice when this war is over. All right, real quick. Let me get a couple scriptures. This is Revelation 11:18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, in the time of the day that they should be judged, that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. Right? And that's what Esau is doing. He's destroying the earth, you know, by pollution, by, you know, war, all these other different things, man. You know, this man approved another nuclear missile test. That's going to destroy the environment. You know, radiation, you know, and all that shit, man. You see? But it's all good, man. Again, when the Lord, when this World War III is over, a lot of things are going to flourish. Even the radiation in the air, because they said there's a mushroom that that can absorb you know, the nuclear waste. You know, I might make just a video on that. Who knows? That might be how one way the Lord gonna clean the earth after the thermonuclear missiles. Cause the earth we ain't gonna just leave the earth. You know, the earth is gonna have to replenish itself. And you know, and we ain't gonna be the only ones being fruitful and multiplying when we come back down. The elect, you know, to bring back the 2/3. Hey, the other nations, they got to be fruitful and multiply, because a lot of them niggas gonna die. You know what I'm saying? The animals, they gonna have to be fruitful and multiplying, because a lot of animals, a lot of trees, a lot of birds, a lot of creatures, sea creatures, they gonna die too. You know? The sea, it says the sea's gonna be roaring. You know? You think the missiles are just gonna hit the land? No. But what's on the land? Animals, trees. Then the sea's gonna be roaring too, because the earth is gonna be shaking to and fro, and so different animals and, you know, creatures in the sea gonna be alive. Them gonna be dead too. You know what I'm saying? So everything gonna have to replenish. Everything's gonna have to be fruitful and multiply. You know what I'm saying? This is Isaiah 14, and I'm start at 6. It says, "He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, none hindereth." All right, and that's what this man have done. Look at the earth. Look at the state of the earth. It's destroyed. You know what I mean? Look at these damn heathen. These nasty ass heathen. Look at the Elamites. Niggas is dirty as hell, man. You know? They eat food off the fucking ground, and you know what I'm saying? You think in the kingdom they gonna be doing that shit, man? They gonna be following our lead. And Esau, like chiefly like the British, they went into to India. That's a video in itself too. You know what I mean? And how they a lot of these different nations like India and Africa. Even though Ham is a fucking idiot, but this nigga, he got the potential to become, you know, he can flourish. Africa is very rich in different resources and all that shit. It could be tourist attractions, all that. But Esau fucked them up in certain, because there's still France. There's people in France. There's people in British, America, all different kind of nations, all up in these different weaker ass nations, and a lot of these nations wasn't able to really grow because their growth was stumped by Esau Edom. In the kingdom, bro, these nations ain't gonna be nowhere near a level that we're gonna be. But as long as they follow our rule and comply, they're gonna be flourishing. Ain't gonna be no fucking dirty ass Hamites, you know what I mean, oogly boogling, you know, on the fucking tree and shit, or Elam eating off the goddamn ground, man. And stinking, throwing shit at each other. We ain't gonna be, hell no, I ain't gonna have that shit in the kingdom. Fuck that. They're gonna be clean, bro. They're gonna be falling after our league. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna be we gonna be ruling over them, but we're not gonna be oppressing them. Of course, okay, that first 1,000 years we gonna be whooping their ass because of vengeance sake. But after that 1,000 years, as long as they just do what the fuck we tell them to do, they're gonna be flourishing, man. Their country is gonna be clean. It's gonna be beautiful. All right. But anyways, it says the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing, just like you seen in that World War I clip. Right after the missiles, all this shit was going off, then the birds start chirping and singing. You know what I'm saying? It says the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cinders of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. You see, and that's what's going to happen, man. You know, even the trees and all, you know, all these things is going to rejoice. All right. Let me see. Psalms 98 and 7. It says, let the sea roar and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Let the floods clap their hands, let the hills be joyful together before Yahweh, for he cometh to judge the earth. With righteousness shall he judge the world, and the people with equity. All right, so yeah, the whole earth is going to fucking rejoice, man, when the Lord finally comes and judge this place. All right, you see, I'm trying to find this one in Chronicles. I think this is it. 1 Corinthians Chronicles 16 and 31 says, let the heavens be glad, let the earth rejoice, and let men say among the nations, Yahweh reigneth. Let the sea roar in the fullness thereof, let the fields rejoice and all that is therein. Different flowers, you know, all that. Then shall the trees of the wood sing out at the presence of Yahweh, because he cometh to judge the earth. You see? So even the trees are going to sing and rejoice, because it's like now we don't got to worry about Esau cutting us all down. Either you get cut down by Esau to make whatever, or you get blown the fuck up in war. You know what I'm saying? Man, look at them Ukrainian videos, bro. There's videos where they just running through woods, and it's just all you see is the stump of trees. You don't just see the tree no more. Like you can tell it was like a whole forest of trees, but there's so much war going on that all you see is just the end of it, like the bottom of it. All the fucking the trees been shot down and blown the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? And it just looks like hell. It just look gloomy and dark. You know? You see? So hey man, the Lord gonna come, man. He gonna save the world, man. Not just us. He gonna save the Israelites, but he's also gonna save the creation too. All right. But one last scripture. All right. Romans 8, 19. It says, "For the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of God." So even these different animals and, they waiting for, they understand. They know they waiting for the Lord to return too. They waiting for the sons of God to rule. Because they understand when the sons of God rule, under Yahweh Shai or Yahweh Wah Yahweh Shai Mashiach, it ain't going to be like this. You know, you got animals committing suicide, man. You know what I'm saying? You got animals depressed in zoos and, you know, I gotta make a whole video on that. I believe I made one years ago, but I think it was on my old channel. But animals, they, like the big cats and shit, like lions and jaguars and all that shit, they meant to travel thousands of miles a day, if I'm not mistaken. I know I read it before. They was made to travel, walk around, certain miles a day. But they in this little ass cage, and you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, they got meat all over the fucking place. They got all potential of dinner just staring at them. They can't do shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just, this place is oppressive, man. He's oppressing everything. Esau, Edom, literally offended everything. The Lord in heaven, the angels, the whole holy host, Yahweh Shai, he offended the earth, the trees, the birds, the animals, the Israelites, even the other nations, even his own damn self, man. The earth, the soil, the earth is alive, man. You don't think you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. This man gotta go. It says, "For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who have subject the same in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of the Most High. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body." So we groaning and waiting and pleading to the Lord, just please. We just want peace, man. But we understand that one woe came, two woes came, so we just got one more woe, which is World War III. Once we done with that shit, then we be done for real. Then that's when they're gonna be turning their swords into plowshares, and then now, instead of destroying and blowing shit the fuck up, it's gonna be rebuilding and growing, and animals and people, Israelites, heathen, everybody's gonna be fruitful and multiply. Right now, everybody is dropping dead, getting abortions, getting blown the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Getting shot, getting killed, dying of cancer, sickness. It's all nothing but death. But man, when the Lord returns and bring peace on this earth, everything's gonna flourish, and we're gonna have hella children, hella land, or the crops gonna be growing. It's gonna be growing bigger. It's gonna be going stronger. Man, it's gonna be crazy, man. So let's get this, Lord willing. Hopefully, this World War III hurry the fuck up and come on, so we can get to that peace. Because we can't skip it. So with that, hopefully that was edifying. We give our praise and glory to Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushua, B'Shem Hakadash, the Master Apostle GMS Ruel, and shalom to the brothers that's doing this work. That say shalom.